Today, I'm doing part two in my series on Shia LaBeouf, and this one is the rehab that Shia needs. So, in that interview, you guys had a question basically like, so how do we stop the bar fights? So that's the question that I'm gonna provide my 2 cents, my opinion, offer it up for Shia to consider to answer the question, how do we stop the bar fights? Um, Also, Shia, for you, these are reminders for you. This might be new knowledge for other people, but from this interview that I heard of you, this is just repeating what you said in this interview. So I'm going to talk about some things, and these are all going to be reminders for you. For other people, it might be new knowledge, but for you, I think they're reminders.
What makes me human is my suffering. And when I look at Christ on the cross, I think, is that a joyful man? As he bleeds out and dies on a cross for humanity, is that man joyful? And I think the answer is yes, that even in his suffering, that's what Christ represents for me. Meaningful suffering. You know, the story of Christ is that God became man for our betterment. So that means that he is the ultimate example, the supreme priest, the ultimate redeemer. If I look at Christ on the cross, I think that's very instructive. You don't see a lot of smiley face Christs on the cross. Yeah. You don't see cross on the cross dying and laughing with aplomb, in joy, in ultimate joy. But I think they should make some Christs on the cross in ultimate serenity, in ultimate joy. They always make Christ like this sad face. And that seems stupid. It seems like it's not deep enough. Like the artists who manufacture those crucifixes, it's almost like they're not seeing the full story. And the full story, I believe, is that Christ is in maximum joy in that moment. He is fully in his purpose. And if you can tap into how you can use your suffering to help other people, that is maximum joy. I always thought joy was, I get this and then I'm happy, or I do this and then I'm happy, or I get her and then I'm happy, or I make that and then I'm happy, or they respect me and then I'm happy. Or I always thought happiness was to be acquired by the things I would gain from life. That's why I was always grabbing. If I knew early on that happiness actually is in me offering all of my suffering up for other people as an instructive thing, or as something that could benefit man, then I maybe would have lived my life differently.
Also, I really liked this interview because when I was going through, it was like the first thing that I watched where hearing you talk about this, I could see that you had genuine knowledge and understanding of Christ and his sufferings and his person. And it wasn't knowledge and understanding that you got from a book. So it's like you knew what you were talking about, and it's like you gained that knowledge through experience, and it was genuine and it was real. For a lot of my Christianity, I was among deceitful men and people that are pretending, that put on this mask of Christianity, and they have the right words and the right verbiage, but they lack the substance, they lack the experience. They're pretenders. So when I, had an experience of trials and sufferings, so I was going through trials and sufferings, and those sufferings brought me into deeper fellowship with God and with Jesus. And it's like through the shared experience of sufferings, I obtained a knowledge and understanding of Christ that I didn't have prior. And it's like comparing theoretical versus experiential. It's like you have knowledge of something, like according to a textbook, it's like that's different than experiential. It's like knowledge of physics versus experiential physics, actually putting it to the test. So from this interview of you, I could discern that you understood. You also had deeper knowledge that can't be found in a book, and you had gained it through the experience of your sufferings. So I'm just going to repeat these things because they're reminders for you. You know them already. Also, a little bit about me. This was my surprise 19th birthday party that my sisters coordinated and put on for me. I was at college at the time and I came back and it was a surprise party, and the theme was Pooh Bear and Shia LaBeouf. So that's me in the middle. I'm in, purple wearing the tiara. Happy birthday. Everyone else has their Pooh Bear ears. And there's you, Shia. You're right behind. You're right behind Rush. I think his real name is Brandon. So you were there for my 19th birthday party, and yeah, the theme was Pooh Bear and Shia LaBeouf. Why was that the theme? Well, I loved Pooh Bear, and I loved Shia LaBeouf. So here's me and my sister, also at college. I was at college and she came to visit me, and I think Pooh Bear, there was some Pooh Bear movie coming out, so it was like she was gonna come visit me, and we were gonna go see this Pooh Bear movie. And I think I'm just an experienced person. Like, I'm all about the experience. I want to dress up. I want to like maximize that. Pass. This dog's a jerk. Pax, stop. Stop bullying Bailey. Stop it. Okay. So she came to visit me, and this is us coordinating as Pooh Bear. You can't see, but I have the Pooh Bear hat. We have our sweatshirts. I don't know where that stuffed animal came from. And it's funny because I guess she was talking to someone, and they were like, "Hey, Libby, what are you doing this weekend?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go see Pooh Bear with my little sister." And they were like, "Oh, how old is she?" She's 20. So yeah, I loved Pooh Bear and I loved Shia LaBeouf. Here's more evidence about the depths of which I loved Shia LaBeouf. So here's a Facebook post from my friend in college on my birthday. So she mentions, I'm not going to suck up to you like someone I know, aka Kelsey. So when I was in a dorm, I had my roommate, and then we shared a bathroom with two other people. They were my suite mates. So Alexi was a suite mate, and Kelsey was also a suite mate. I was closest with Alexi, and Kelsey was like her suite mate. But the four of us, the quad, we were suite mates. So that's who Alexi is, Lex, and Kelsey is her suite mate. And how did she suck up to me? I took down the photo because when I, became a Christian, I was like, this is inappropriate. But she had photoshopped a picture of you and me together. It was a picture of you, and you're like this, and I was like up against your face. And she did that. So that was 2009. So that was back in the day when that task took time and skill. She had to do that in Photoshop. So that's how Kelsey had sucked up to me on my birthday, was with that photoshopped picture. Probably took her a few hours. Here's some more Facebook posts from my friends, 4 different friends. In 2009, I just found out Transformers 3 is coming out. We should watch it together. Did you see Transformers yet? Transformers coming out on June 24th. I saw Disturbia again on Saturday, LOL. So you can kind of see the evidence of my affections for Shia LaBeouf at that time. Again, another friend. Shia's getting married. Hey girl, hey, Shia says hi. I think I have a Shia now. For you, my dear, I thought you could use a little Shia. Happy birthday. I hope your Shia wishes come true for the sake of my sanity. Maybe Shia will be there somehow. And here's what I posted my dad. So that was 2009, but this is 2012. So I was 22 at this time. This is a Facebook post I sent my dad. I know you told me I should be watching the Masters, but Golf Channel is showing the greatest game ever played, starring Shia LaBeouf. I hope this will suffice. I was, it's funny, and like, I made it known, like, I guess I took pride in the fact that I knew like the spelling of your last name. So whenever there was opportunity, it was always like, I never said Shia, I'd be like Shia LaBeouf, and I'd spell out your full name because it's like I had You're talking about the spelling. It's like I knew the real spelling, so it's like, you know how you say you're a true Catholic. I'm a true Shia LaBeouf fan, demonstrated by my knowledge of how to spell his last name. I'm a true fan. I'm a true stalker. I'm a true delusional, obsessed fan of Shia LaBeouf. How do you, and I think it started off small and then it just kind of became my thing and I leaned into it. So when you had Indiana Jones, I had your action figures. Not the 12-inch ones. I wasn't that crazy. I just had the little ones, the little figurines. But this is me 9 years ago. Um, so someone had posted a video that they made about Shia LaBeouf. And for some reason, I just thought that was the perfect opportunity for me to express to this person. I used to have his action figures, Heart, and they responded. Like looking back, it's like, how do you respond to that? I can understand how I put him in a weird situation. Haha, oh really? Were they from a specific movie or show? Haha. Indiana Jones. Ah, nice. Uh like what a goofy girl. I don't know how I would have responded to that if I posted a video about I looked at the video. I don't think it's still up. But it's like, how do you respond to that? I used to have his action figures. Um so I had like the motorcycle one and then like the two with like you and your knife or with the sword. Um and I got rid of them, but I have decided I'm going to get back on the wagon. So I bought these from eBay, kind of for nostalgia at this point, but I don't know when they'll come in, but I'm going to get back on the wagon. I'm a fan of Shia LaBeouf. I have his action figures. Um, but during my season of like sanctification and spiritual awakening and examining myself and like the darkness in my own heart, this interview with you with John Bernthal, when you were talking about how like when you're at the top, like everyone wants to be your friends, but when you went through some trials and you needed help, it's like everyone abandons you. No one's there. And I realized that, yeah, I also didn't love you and that I would categorize my my fandom as hatred. I didn't love you. I hated you during that time that I watched your movies and I had your action figures and I had a balloon of you on my 19th birthday party. And I think we went to Sports Page that night and I think we took you with us, like with the balloon, like Shy's coming with us. I think we had your balloon there. Um, and when we left, it's like, don't forget Shia. Take the take the balloon with us. But I realized, yeah, all of that wasn't love. It was hatred. I didn't know you. I didn't know what you needed, who you were. I think I liked you because of how, for my own selfish reasons. Pax, stop. Come here, Pax. Yeah, I could see how it wasn't love. It was hatred. And I liked in that interview how it's like you understood unconditional love through that experience. And that's like what love is. If love is with conditions, then it's not love. It's just like usury or spitefully using someone. Yeah. So after that interview and like seeing the videos of you in different interviews where it's like you had genuine faith and knowledge of God and in his son, I wanted, and I feel bad for like people like you and Shia LaBeouf where it's like you're or you and Justin Bieber where it's like you're seeking God, you want to know God, you want to understand Jesus, and it's like people see you as a cash cow. So I wanted to reach out and write you a letter, and Shia LaBeouf. So this is me asking, this is my realtor, Greg, apologies ahead of time if this comes across the wrong way. Do you have any connections that if I wanted to write a letter or send a package to certain celebrities, you could find out where to send it that would give the best odds of them actually receiving it? So writing these letters, I've been writing a lot of letters. It takes a lot of work. Mental, emotional, spiritual, physical. It's a lot of work, and I don't mind doing it. And I know like some people that I've written letters to, they're indifferent to them, and I'm okay with that, but I at least want it to get to them. So, and like I wrote a letter to Taylor Swift is the only one that I wrote a letter and sent a package to, and I don't know if it got to her. So I wanted to write you and Justin Bieber letters, but I didn't know if it would actually make their way to you. But they said, not sure by what you mean by celebrities. If you're looking for addresses, I can help find people. And I said, like Shia LaBeouf or Justin Bieber, celebrities that in interviews have talked about Jesus in a way that seems genuine, like they actually know him. I want to write to encourage them. And he said those would not be easy to find. Their properties would be buried in trust. You could join IMDb and get their agents' contact information. Good advice. What I will say is when celebrities are in public at an event, they are more likely to talk to strangers. When they are at home or with family, you are likely to get rebuffed and possibly a restraining order. That's reasonable, as the fear for their family safety. That makes sense. I might just start a blog and write open letters. That may be better. Then everyone can be encouraged if they need, if they find themselves needing the same encouragement. So this was last year, April 19th, 2005. So I've been trying to get your contact info. So this was after his advice. This is April 21st, 2025. So I paid for the subscription for IMDb Pro. And you did have contact information for your manager and stuff like that. So I'll probably email them, maybe call them, maybe send them this video. Maybe they'd be willing at least to pass it on to you, or I can send a letter to them and it might make its way to you. So that's the intro. Because people might see this as clout chasing. Maybe a portion of it is, I don't know, but there's also a large portion that's genuine. And me wanting to speak to you in a genuine way, person to person. Because we're all praying for Shia, but no one really seems to care. So how do we stop bar fights? And these are reminders for you. Also in these series, like hopefully they'll make their way towards Shia, and I'm going to speak to Shia in Shia's language, according to the liberties that I believe that I have before God. And that includes using words that, like, I don't think certain words with combinations of letters like fuck, F-U-C-K, I don't think that's a curse word. Yeah, it might be mature words, but personally, I don't have, it's not a sin for me to say that. So it might come out more in the future. So reminder, look at Jesus's example. And even in that interview, I'll probably post a clip. You're like, when I look at Jesus, when I see him on the cross, I think, that's instruction. It is. And I'm just reminding you to consider his example with his sufferings and on the cross. So this is Jesus's example in John 18. The high priest then questioned Jesus about his disciples and about his teaching. Jesus answered him, "I've spoken openly to the world. I always taught in synagogues and in the temple where all the Jews come together, and I spoke nothing in secret. Why do you question me? Question those who have heard what I spoke to them. They know what I said." When he had said this, one of the officers standing nearby struck Jesus, saying, "Is that the way you answer the high priest?" Jesus answered him, "If I have spoken wrongly, testify of the wrong. But if rightly, why do you strike me?" So it's like seeing this. This was probably the first verse where I actually considered the person of Jesus, who he is, his character, how he responds in different situations, and I thought this was the most glorious thing that I had ever seen from Jesus at that time. And it's like he has this masculine strength of receiving violence, and he's not moved by it. He's not provoked by it. He can receive the attack, um, and not respond. He doesn't react to it. He just responds respectfully to the person that committed a violent act against him. It's like the strength of standing firm and responding rather than reacting. The strength of receiving disrespect and still responding respectfully. The strength of self-control. It's like he has the power and the strength to just absorb violence, to absorb being struck and not be provoked to harm him in return. And it's like, after I've seen a whole bunch of men fight for positions of power, and wanting to destroy their enemies in an attempt to exalt themselves, it's like, dang, Jesus received this pax. He received this attack, and he just absorbs it, and he doesn't attack the person. What a man! What strength that he respects all people. And this is like 1 Peter chapter 2, 19 through 25. For this finds favor if for the sake of conscience towards God, a person bears up under sorrows when suffering unjustly. For what credit is there if when you sin and are harshly treated, you endure it with patience? But if when you do what is right and suffer patiently for it, this finds favor with God. For you have been called for this purpose, since Christ also suffered for you, leaving you an example for you to follow in his steps, who committed no sin, nor was any deceit found in his mouth. And while being reviled, he did not revile in return. While suffering, he uttered no threats, but kept entrusting himself to him who judges righteously. So it's like, this brings in the concept of like retributive justice, karma, and entrusting yourself to him who judges righteously. Trusting in the living God to be your deliverer, to like commit yourself to the will of God and trust that God will bring about justice on your behalf, instead of like vindicating yourself or delivering you from the hands of wicked men. It's like, I'm not going to destroy them. I'm not going to be violent against them. I'm going to receive this cruelty and trust that the Lord of all the earth will do right. He'll bring about justice. He'll discipline them and punish them in the way that they deserve. He won't overpunish them. He won't underpunish them. He'll bring about justice. And when you do that, like eventually karma will get played out pretty quickly. But yeah, so if you absorb suffering unjustly by the hands of evil men, it's like you're receiving suffering unjustly. And it's like, in order to bring about justice, like, well, God will eventually reward you with joy. You received suffering unjustly. It's like, well, also Peter says, if anyone suffers as like a murderer or an evildoer, it's like you're receiving the consequences of your actions. But if you haven't done harm to people and you receive suffering unjustly, it's like God sees that. He knows that. He knows it's unjust. And in order to alleviate that, it's like, well, he can't remove the harm that's already been experienced that you received. So it's like he'll bring about joy for you. You received suffering unjustly. Well, in order to bring about justice, he's going to bring about joy for you. Yeah, so that finds favor with God. You're receiving, they're taking their sins out on you, and you're receiving that, and God will deal justly with you. That suffering won't be in vain. So, if you find yourself with people and they're wanting to fight, well, let them beat the shit out of you. And here are some few motivations. One, it's an experience, kind of like how you talked about going to jail. Like if I get arrested, so what? It's an experience. The Lord is with me. So it's an experience. You can experience what it feels like, and I'm sure you already have. For them to beat the shit out of you. So you can have that experience, and with that experience, it's also just to passively let people beat you. Well, that would be another shared experience that you would have with Christ. So, like people might view that as a weakness, like, oh, he's just lying down and letting them beat the shit out of him. But I wouldn't see it as that. I would see that as like strength, that you have the power to endure suffering, and through that through that suffering, you'll gain further knowledge and understanding of who God is and who Jesus is. And in his presence, there's fullness of joy. So like what you talk about, it's through suffering that you'll have joy. I wouldn't see that as like he's a small man. I would see that as a very strong man. If, for the sake of conscience towards God, someone just kind of laid down and let people beat the shit out of them because he wanted to know Jesus more, it wouldn't be a source of ridicule in my eye. Yeah, and it's another way that you'd be just like Jesus in your works. And people are so blind. Just hearing your interviews, things that you say, I'm like, you're just like him in a lot of ways. Some ways you're not, but in a lot of meaningful ways, you are just like Jesus. And I'll talk about those, Lord willing, in later videos. But if you just lay down and let people beat you up, that would be another way that you are just like Jesus. And by receiving harm unjustly, that positions you to be blessed by God later. Retributive justice, karma. When you receive and endure suffering, God will compensate with joy. That finds favor with God. It demonstrates the masculine strength of being self-controlled and able to absorb an attack and remain unmoved, responding rather than reacting. And it's like it demonstrates you have self-control, that you're not given over to your violent nature, your masculine nature towards violence. And it's like, I can understand, I see in how you speak that your mind and heart is against violence. You don't want to harm anyone. You don't want, even your enemies, you don't want to bring about harm to them. And I understand, like in this situation, it was Mardi Gras, you were drunk, and yeah, you are just a man. And I know you said that in the context of drunkenness, but in regards to violence, you are just a man. You're still susceptible towards weakness, the right place, the right time, people can provoke you and get a response that's unfavorable. Yep, I don't think it's like, I don't see you as having anger and violence as a sin that's abiding in your heart. I believe you when you said like you're not a fighter, but that doesn't mean that the right circumstance, people can provoke that and get you to respond in that way. Yeah, and like if you like a couple times of just letting people beat the shit out of you, well, once the pattern is established and it's proven that you're not going to fight back, the provocation will stop. So here's some more verses about finding favor with God, being rewarded by God, positioning yourself to be a recipient of good karma. Like in Luke 6, blessed are you when men hate you and ostracize you and insult you and scorn your name as evil. Be glad in that day and leap for joy, for behold, your reward is great. So it's like you're receiving all of this evil, you're receiving all of this hatred, you're receiving all of this abuse and mistreatment unjustly. You're just building yourself up to be rewarded with God. And it's, Googling your name on YouTube now, listening to portions of YouTube videos and people's commentary, and it's like all of the insults, all of the scorn, all of the hatred, um, the smear campaigns. But it's like if you just willingly endure that, it's like being positioned as a celebrity in the limelight. It's like, yeah, you're positioned to be um, a source of ridicule by the entire world, but that could also be used in your favor. If you just absorb it, it's like you're receiving all of this unfavorable treatment unjustly by the hands of men. It's like, well, your reward with God is going to be great. So you are in a position to be greatly rewarded by God by receiving evil unjustly from a multitude of people. I made another video about how like pastors are in a position where they should be concerned because their authority positions them to receive a lot of negative retributive justice from God. It's like because their actions affect many, so it's like retributive justice towards them is something they should be highly concerned about. But with where you're at, like you're not in a position of religious authority, but you're in a position of like the public limelight, so you're in a position to be to receive a lot of retributive justice in a favorable way. So praise God. Another verse, Luke 6, love your enemies, do good to those who hate you, bless those who curse you. So it's like you're giving out positive energy, positive vibes, you're doing good, you're loving your enemy towards those who don't deserve it. It's like it's not transactional with you. You're doing good to those who can't provide a return. Every time you take a photo with someone, you're doing good to them for the sake of doing good to them. You're not going to get a return to them. You're simply just trying to bless them. So if you just do that to also your enemies and those who hate you, it's like you can start getting more favor with God and good karma. So yeah, if you love those who love you, what credit is that to you? If you do good to those who do good, what credit is that to you? If you lend to those whom you expect to receive, what credit is that to you? And you do these things like in that interview. You're saying God bless them, and it's probably really difficult for you to say that, and there might be a sense where it's like your heart is conflicted. You do want God to bless them, but you're also struggling with how they've been a source of harm against you. But you are loving your enemies, and you are blessing those who curse you. So yeah, do all these things, and your reward will be great, and you will be sons of the Most High, for he himself is kind to ungrateful and evil men. Be merciful just as your Father is merciful. And Shia, you are merciful. Even like that person, when it's like your discernment gives you the impression of like, yeah, they're doing these evil things towards me because I'm an opportunity. They're clout chasers. It's like if they can cause a public scene with me and like that, because of me, that goes into the news attention, that gets published, that's in the news, and it's like they're also associated with that. It's like your wisdom and discernment, it's like you see their motive behind their acts. It's not personal, it's just they want the attention, they want the limelight, and you're just the source of them to get to where they want to go. And you even say like, you know what, I get it. I get it. You want people want attention, they want to be seen, and it's like if they want you, like go ahead, get yours. It's like you're merciful to them. You understand what would provoke them to want to do that evil against you, and it's like it's a tough world. People need to take opportunity where they can, I guess, and you understand that you're merciful towards your enemies. Shy, don't sell yourself short. There are a lot of ways that you are like God and like Jesus. Also in 1 Peter Be harmonious, sympathetic, brotherly, kind-hearted, humble in spirit. I see those things in you. Not returning evil for evil or insult, but giving a blessing instead. For you were called for the very purpose that you might inherit a blessing. The one who desires life, to love and see good days, must keep his tongue from evil and his lips from speaking deceit. He must turn away from evil and do good. He must seek peace and pursue it. So that, like, turning away from evil, consider that. And yeah, in that interview you said you had like 20,000 good interactions and 3 bad interactions. I understand. You're being measured against a tough standard. People don't post, look at these good interactions that Shia had. Look how he showed up to this bar and bought everyone their first round. I don't know what you do. Look at your people don't post about all the good that you're doing. They want the drama, they want the chaos, they want the scandal, the juicy story. So it's like, look at this evil. And I'm sorry that you have that in your life. You said, I'm not a fighter. I believe you. You don't appear to be the instigator. There's this concept of reactive abuse where it's like you provoke someone and you provoke them to react in a way that makes them look violent and angry. And then it's like you capture their response and you use that against them. There's a book, I'll probably put a picture of it. Is this abuse? If you have to read a book, it probably is abuse. From that situation, it does look like reactive abuse. It looks like they provoked you in order to get a response, and so they can have this smear campaign of making you look evil to bring you down. And that concept is also talked about in this song Mad Woman by Taylor Swift. And you'll poke that bear till her claws come out and you find something to wrap your noose around. So I don't think you're a fighter. I think that was reactive abuse on their part, and I'll talk about it in a different video. Also, in your interview when I revisited your interview portions of it with John Bernthal, you mentioned also, you brought up again, you expressed insecurities over not wanting to be performative in that interview. So I think that's something that people have keyed up on with you. It's something that like you're a little insecure about. It's a soft spot in your heart. You don't want to be that person. You're sensitive to that. And I think people have picked up on that. And now that's why you're getting all these accusations of someone told me today I was being performative. It's because they've keyed up on that's a soft spot or a weakness of yours. So if people accuse you of being performative, know that it's hatred from them, and it's an act of violence. Cruel and sadistic people who delight in causing harm because it gives them a false sense of power have picked up on that and use it as a tool. It's like, oh, I know Shia has this insecurity, this weakness, this soft spot. Well, now that's a tool that I could use my words to provoke him to a response. And that makes me feel powerful. I have power over Shia LaBeouf, and he's this man who's a successful actor and he has money. So it's like, if I can control him, well, in their mind, they can like convince themselves that they're more powerful than you. It's really weird. I wish I didn't have to go down this road of dark tactics that people use. But yeah, it's demonic. They delight in afflicting your spirit and causing you distress and causing you harm, and they want to control you in that way. And it's like demonic oppression. Yeah. So just know, like, if those accusations come up in the future, that's what they're trying to do. they hate you. It's an act of violence. They want to wound your heart and spirit and like shed innocent blood spiritually, um, invoke spiritual suffering. So just know that when it comes up in the future, that's kind of what they're doing. In that interview, you said, I'm just a man. Maybe, but also don't sell yourself short. I know a multitude of children abiding in the bodies of adult men that can't even endure being told the truth. They hold positions of authority, religious authority, yet refuse to be held accountable for their own actions. And your radical acknowledgement of guilt is admirable, and it's an example that's worthy to be imitated. And it's sad that I have to, like, people say, like, that interview, oh, he has, radical accountability. It's sad, like, if you see that as radical it's just accountability. It's not radical. He's just holding himself accountable for his own actions. And if people see that as radical, it just shows how far gone our society is. I'll probably post a clip, but I like how the interviewer is like, so you're going to hold yourself responsible? And you're like, yeah, 1000%. We're not going to play games.
You know, I got some contrition on my heart, you know what I mean? It's not nice to hurt people, ever. It's fucking lame. People got hurt, I gotta deal with that. I'm gonna deal with that. I'm gonna deal with that in full. I'll eat it all. It was on me. It's not on them. It's on me. I fucked up. It's on me. I fucked up. It's on me.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So you take responsibility for
1000%. We're not gonna play games.
Yeah.
But,
like, when you say, like, I'm just a man, like, yeah, you are just a man, but you might be the only one, Shia. From what I've seen, you might be the only man that's willing to stand up and hold himself accountable, as opposed to dodging accountability and placing the blame on someone else and forcing them to bear the weight of their sin. Like, instead of holding yourself accountable and bearing the weight of your portion for your sin, it's like they deflect and blame shift, and now they're forcing someone else to bear the weight of their sin instead of, as a man, being the leader, the stronger vessel. It's like they can't even bear the weight of accountability for their own sin. It's like other people have to bear the weight of their sin. They can't even confess that they had sin, that they did wrong, that what they did was wrong. But they force the weight of responsibility onto others. So even like in this instance where I think the other people were the primary aggressors, and it's like reactive abuse, and it's like, yeah, you didn't respond in a favorable way, like you're still holding yourself accountable. Your response was wrong, even though like it was provoked in unfavorable situations. Like, you still recognize, yeah, I should have had self-control. I shouldn't have responded that way. I need to grow in patience. Even though like the guilt is more like they're more guilty. What they did is they have more guilt than you from my perspective, and I'll post another video about that. But you're still holding yourself accountable for your portion of guilt. You do, make known your perspective that they're clout chasers, and they wanted you to go to, these MFers put you in jail. I think there's truth to that. And like, they have their guilt. They're probably not going to have to bear its weight. They're forcing the weight of their guilt onto you. It's like, now, like, you have to bear the suffering of the world seeing you as this person. They're not going to confess truth. They're going to lie, deceive, manipulate, put the smear campaign on you, keep everyone in chaos and confusion, spin a story, act like the victim. They're not going to bear the weight of their sin, and they're causing you to bear that weight with, the smear campaign and the public response. But you're still bearing the weight of your sin and the guilt that you have. Yeah. So you are just a man, but don't sell yourself short. You might be the only one. So that ends part 2 of the rehab, part of the rehab that Shia needs. Okay, thanks.